everyone! I just wanted to take a few minutes in this video to go over the homework items here in Week 8. When you click on the Week 8 Homework Assignments tab in the Week 8 module, the first thing you're going to see is to review Chapter 17. Chapter 17, again, is going over essay writing, which is what we've been covering. So just give that a review if you feel like you need a little bit of extra support on top of the lessons in this week's module. The next item is, of course, the Week 8 journal. And this week, I want you to reflect a little bit on what we've covered in the course so far. So when you look at the journal prompt, you're going to see a list of 8 topics that we have covered throughout the course so far. And I would like for you to choose 4 of them to write about. Once you've chosen which 4 areas that you want to write about, what I want you to do is describe your experience with each lesson. Like how familiar were you with that topic before you started taking this class? Why do you think it was important to learn about that lesson? Whether it's that it would help you outside of class, or maybe it was a lesson that you needed to build skills, to continue building skills in this class. However you want to approach that part of the question. Do you think you've mastered the topic? And if not, what can you do to continue strengthening your skills in that area? So again, choose 4 of them from that list of 8. And when it asks you, have you mastered it? And if not, what could you do to continue strengthening those skills? Keep in mind that even though this is an English class and we're learning composition skills, the real reason that you take this course is to simply know how to write and communicate effectively in any kind of workplace situation, whether that be emails, memos, notes, whatever it might be. So don't think of this as, oh, I need to keep writing these paragraphs, or I need to keep writing essays. That's not really what I want you to think about. I want you to think about it in like a real world setting. Because again, the point of this class is not because you don't take it because you're going to be writing a whole bunch of essays in your job. You take the class because it's important to know how to write professionally and effectively. And you'll be writing in all different sorts of scenarios, not essays. We use that essay format towards the end of the course because it is important to know how to do that. But really it goes beyond that. Okay? So choose 4 from that list of 8. What was your experience with it before taking this class? Why was it important to learn it? Have you mastered it? And if not, what can you do to make sure that you keep building on those skills so that in the professional workforce you are able to write and communicate effectively? Right? Try to have that in by Sunday night. The next item for homework this week is Week 8 Assignment 1, Sample Essays. So again, we're gearing up for that final exam essay, right? Where you have to take one of your writing assignment paragraphs, expand on your ideas, and turn it into a 5-paragraph essay. Introductory paragraph with a thesis statement, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. If you chose to do your compare-contrast, if that's the one you're going to choose, you might decide to do the side-by-side method of organization, in which case yours might only be 4 paragraphs. Introductory paragraph, and then 1 body paragraph to cover your first side, 1 body paragraph to cover the other side, and then a concluding paragraph. Right? So that's what we're working on here. We're going to look at 3 sample essays. Okay? The essays are attached in separate files to the assignment instructions. Okay? There's one that's called Chili Time, one file that's called Parenting 101, and the third file is called Singapore and Trinidad. you will need to read all, you'll need to open and read all 3 files. When you open them, you will see that underneath each essay are questions that you need to answer. The easiest way to complete this assignment is to open up, as you do each one, open up that file and save it. Read the essay, answer the questions, save it again, and upload that when you're finished. You can create your own Word document, do it in a PDF, do it in a Google Doc, but just know that you will need to answer the questions on all 3 essays, right? So you'll read all 3 and answer the questions for all 3. If you do it the way that I suggested first, where you use my files as your template, you will be uploading 3 files for your submission. If you do it another way and you have it all on one document, that's fine. That does not bother me at all. But I just want to make it clear that if you decide to use the files I've provided, you will need to upload all 3 when you submit. Alright, so when you read, or when you open up Chili Time, you're going to see the essay, right? And then underneath the essay, you're going to see 13 questions. And those questions are asking you to identify elements of the essay. So, question 1 says, in the essay, which sentences are used to attract the reader's interest? Identify those sentences below. Hint, you can copy and paste the sentences from the essay. So whatever sentences you think are used to grab the reader's attention, you can just copy and paste those as your answer. Question 2. The thesis statement in Chili Time is presented in which sentence? Identify that sentence below. Again, hint, you can copy and paste the sentence from your essay. So I've given you that hint anywhere it can be used. Anytime you can just go up and copy something and paste it as your answer, I've given you that hint. That's not the case for every single question, but it is for a lot of them. So again, read Chili Time, read that essay, and then answer all 13 questions. Then, when you're finished with that one, you'll go to the next file, Parenting 101. Same deal. You'll read the essay and then answer 9 questions about it. And the questions are very similar to what you answered for Chili Time. It's just this is a different type of essay. This is a compare-contrast essay. Chili Time is an evaluation essay. It's a restaurant review. So, and it's got more components to it. So there's 13 questions there. Parenting 101 is a compare-contrast essay that uses the side-by-side approach. So that's why there's fewer questions. But the questions are pretty much the same type of questions that you answered for Chili Time, looking at specific elements of the essay. And then finally, once you're finished with that one, you'll open up the file for Singapore and Trinidad. This is also a compare-contrast essay, but it's one that goes point by point, right? So it's organized differently. So you'll read that essay, and there are 11 questions to answer for that one. And again, very similar questions. And for all 3 essays, in the questions, if it's a question that you're able to answer by copying and pasting something, I have given you that hint in all 3, okay? So just do your best on this. Think back to everything we've learned throughout the quarter. We've just been learning about introductory paragraphs and thesis statements. We've learned about paragraphs and topic sentences and transitions. We've just learned about concluding paragraphs. This is where you're trying to apply that knowledge, okay? All right, so you'll read all 3 and answer the questions for all 3, okay? All right, and then of course the last item for homework this week is the Week 8 discussion. And this week we're going to talk about self-care. So the question is, the discussion prompt, do you practice any type of self-care? If so, explain what activities or practices you use. Are there other self-care practices you would like to add to your routine? If you feel like you do not currently practice any real self-care, what can you do to change that? Like, what types of self-care activities would you like to put into practice? And if you aren't quite sure what self-care is, because it's one of those buzzwords that gets used a lot, and it's really easy to think you know what it means, but you might actually have the wrong perception of it. So I've given a link to a very, very short article that briefly explains what self-care is, as well as what it's not, just so that way people can understand, you know, what is truly considered self-care, and then what are some things that some people might consider self-care but really aren't. So it's a real brief article. So you can use that link to help you. It also gives, some ideas. But just try, answer those questions. Think about your self-care routine or what you would like it to be. What are some things that you think would benefit you that you might not currently be doing? If you think you have a great self-care routine, share it with us. But try to get at least a paragraph, 8 to 10 sentences roughly. Try to have that first post up by Thursday night and respond to 2 classmates before it closes on Sunday night. And that's it for this week. If you have any questions or run into any technical difficulties, please let me know, especially with Week 8 Assignment 1, the sample essays. If that starts to get confusing because it's 3 separate files, please reach out to me for clarification. I want to make sure everybody does that the right way and gets the answers submitted in some way for all 3 essays, okay? All right. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys are free to get started.